Okay, I'm going to talk about fear. Fear, our friend fear, that comes up for us in life, for all of us, doesn't it? It's what stops us from living, it's what stops us from being ourselves because we're scared we're going to be rejected. It stops us from trying things. It keeps us stuck, it keeps us frozen, it keeps us immobilized. And for many, it keeps you physically immobilized. You can't move. For some, their body just goes into shaking when the fear comes. And, that fear starts as soon as there's a sign, whether you find a lump, whether you start feeling unwell and show obvious signs of an illness like cancer or whatever it is, even before you know that it's terminal. That fear comes. The fear comes and the mind just goes crazy. Your mind just doesn't stop. What if? What if? You listen to, you're taught all your life to listen to intuition, and then your intuition is telling you things are wrong, and then you don't want to listen to your intuition because it just brings up the fear. So the fear, gosh, I want to say it's something that you want to make your friend, but in those early days, it's not. It's like the Grim Reaper. It's this darkness. It's immobilizing, and you don't know what to do with the fear. Whether you are the person that's been diagnosed or whether you are the spouse of or a family member, everyone's fear manifests differently. Everyone's fear comes out differently. So for some, it manifests and shows up as anger. For some, it shows up as depression. For some, it shows up as erratic behavior. And underneath that is fear. Underneath that is sadness and grief. Dealing with the fear. It's really hard to sit with fear on your own. I'm not going to lie. It's taken me many, 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 many years for me to be able to sit with fear now and be with fear. But for someone who hasn't done a lot of work on themselves or hasn't had major adversity, they're not resilient. Fear is crippling. So in this journey, during this journey, to be able to have someone there to be with you and fear, so that you're not with fear on your own, to have a confidant, to have someone to walk beside you and even take some of that fear away and just say, let me hold on to fear for now. And you just feel whatever else is there because I'm holding on to fear. To have someone to be able to be an intermediary between you, the person who's been diagnosed, the person who is at the end of their life end stage, and the partner, the spouse, the children, for you to be able to come in there, for me to be able to come in there and hold this space so that fear doesn't get in the way of their precious time together. Dealing with that fear, the unknown, the uncertainty, the discomfort of the uncertainty is a big one. I mean, we all know the everydayness of life without this being there to deal with as well, how uncomfortable we as human beings feel with uncertainty, how uncomfortable we feel even with discomfort. Even when we're too cold, we're too hungry, when we're angry, we'll do anything to run from it. But when you've got a terminal diagnosis, when you know that your days are numbered, you can't run from the reality of what you're facing. You can in a moment, but when you put your head down at night to sleep, during those moments of escape while you're asleep, if you're lucky enough not to have nightmares about it, then you have a bit of, what's the word? You have a reprieve from the fear. But as soon as you open your eyes, it's there. Reality is there. To have a confidant, to have someone there who has been through the same process, who knows the journey, who can sit with fear and hold another person in their fear and trauma, because quite honestly, you you have to be there when they need you. I had some moments when my fear was that crippling. My best friend held me, and it was then that I was able to roar. It was a roar that came out of me, the horror. But would I have wanted to do that in front of Phil? No way. So to be there and to be able to hold the person who is diagnosed or family members, to let their fear out, to express it in whichever way it shows up. The fear is a bit like the cycle also of grief. You know, it shows up as depression, anger, bargaining with God. But underneath that, it's just this immense sadness until you eventually get to a place of acceptance. And it's usually when you get to that place of acceptance, that fear, it doesn't knock you over anymore. It's not like a big tsunami anymore. You're able to go, oh, hello, fear. You're here. What are you here to teach me today? I'll give you 90 seconds of my time, and then I'm going to get on and live the rest of this day. The thing is, it's about not letting fear stop you from living the remainder of your life, because you do have more time. And God willing, if you are able to somehow take care of your physical and emotional body in a way that your life is extended a little bit, then fantastic. Why not choose laughter over fear? Why not choose joy over dread? And that's where this becomes an important decision for the person at the end stage or their family. They make the decision to not let fear end their life as soon as they find out about the diagnosis. They want to be able to live with cancer or whatever it is that they've got. They want to be fully present, one day at a time, an hour at a time, and sometimes it has to be a moment at a time when those feelings, when those tsunamis come, and to have someone there to hold you through that and give you the courage and strength to see that actually, eventually, you'll be able to sit through that fear on your own. That when it comes to that final day, if you're still able to be present during that time, just as Phil was, he was still present right up until some of those final breaths, to not let fear be present as you're transitioning, but to come to that place of acceptance and peace. Why stop living when you're told that you've got a finite period of time left? You don't need to. Don't let fear of the unknown, or fear itself, be something that you run from. Welcome it. Learn to dance with it. Let it even be your friend and be your greatest teacher. That's it.